Beryl the businessman was on a business trip, traveling through towns and villages. Together with him, running the horses, was his loyal coachman. It was getting close to Shabbat. It was already Friday midday, and they decided instead of risking it, having to stop off somewhere right before Shabbat, why don't we stop off in this town? We'll continue traveling on Sunday. So they each took their hotel room. The Beryl the businessman's hotel room was much more lavish than his coachman's. They went to take a bath for Shabbat. The businessman dressed in his nice Shabbat clothes, and he was on his way to synagogue, where he would arrive early, perhaps do some extra prayers or studying, and on the way he sees a wagon driver, not his own coachman, just another Jew with his wagon stuck deep in the mud. Feeling so bad for this wagon driver, the businessman, Beryl, goes over to help him pull his wagon out of the mud. But what does Beryl the businessman know about towing wagons? He got all dirty, hurt, tore his nice clothes, and barely helped the wagon driver with his wagon. By the time he got to the synagogue, it was already late. He wanted to invite some guests to join him in his hotel room for Shabbat, but most of the guests were already invited. To who? A big chunk of guests were actually invited to his very own coachman. You see, the coachman, he wasn't on duty this Friday because they stopped off early in this town. So he also took a bath, went to the synagogue early, and wanting to have a nice Shabbat, although his hotel room was not nearly as nice as his boss's, he invited a bunch of guests to join him for Friday night Shabbat meal in his hotel room. They had a nice time. The food wasn't great, but he did the best he could. Now really, the businessman should have been the one inviting the guest, and the coachman should have been the one helping this poor wagon driver pull himself out of the mud. When the businessman and the coachman went to heaven after 120 years of life, God said, look, you both did good, but this is not what I put you in the world for. The businessman needs to invite guests to his beautiful hotel room, and the coachman needs to help people get pulled out of mud. You need to go back down to earth and each do what I sent you here to do. Don't just do good, do what you're best at. If somebody who has a talent, could carve diamonds, works in a bakery and bakes bread, is he doing something bad? He's breaking bread, so people could eat and won't go hungry. But he's not utilizing his potential. He's not doing what he's best at. He's not utilizing his God-given talents. We need to not just do good, we need to do what we're best at, which is what God put us here to do.